101.5 FM here in Las Vegas. Our show is produced by Green Alliance, and all of you green listeners out there, if you're not a member of Green Alliance, you should become a member. There are a lot of benefits to being in a network of green thinking companies and individuals. You can learn something and maybe find some great places to shop and help with projects you may be working on. Today's show is sponsored by NV Energy, and I am your host, Paul Ira. We have Chris Brooks on the line from District 10, Assemblyman Mr. Brooks. We were talking about question 3, and question 3 did not pass during this last session. What are your thoughts on the outcome of that? Why'd that happen?
Well, I think that when question 3 was proposed in 2016, it was proposed side by side with a ballot initiative on net metering. The ballot initiative on net metering failed in the court to be considered on the ballot based upon its language. And so when folks, I believe, and some of the polling has showed, when Nevadans voted for question 3 the first time, it was a vote for solar, and it was a vote against NV Energy. NV Energy, if you recall, and solar companies were in a little bit of a fight over the rates and of net reimbursement rates for net metered customers. And so, you know, I believe that it did pass by 72%, but I believe most of that was people's frustration over the rooftop solar issue. 2017, the legislative session, the legislature fixed that problem, and Assembly Bill 405 returned it back to a better place than it's ever been in the state of Nevada. Immediately, thousands and thousands of people got solar. When it came up again the second time, question 3, that is, that the solar issue was no longer part of the discussion, and we really got to look at what is this question? What does this do to our Constitution? Why are we trying to do this, and who's behind it? And when we asked all those questions, and when voters really started to learn what this was about, they rejected it by a margin of over 2-1.
That's good. Okay, that was a good explanation of what's going on there. Let's talk a little bit about community choice aggregation, which is kind of like community solar, but a little bit different. How is that different?
Community choice aggregation is when you take a group of neighbors, we'll say. It could be somebody in a neighborhood, in a township, in an entire city, and you put them together and look at that as one big load, and then they go through a process similar to what we discussed about how big loads exit through 704B. The only state that's really done this is California, and I would say a lot of experts would say to varying degrees of success or failure, depending on how you look at it. And
glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah, and so you have some businesses that sell solar that would love more of a direct market to the consumer, but you would also need to have some sort of consensus amongst the neighbors about if they wanted to leave, how they left, and then who they would go get their energy from. And it would still be the same wires going to your house, and it would still be the same cost associated with distribution. And so in California, there hasn't been a tremendous amount of, in my opinion, value in consumers doing this. As a matter of fact, no large utility scale project has been built, signed, proposed, a contract signed in California since the introduction of the adoption of CCA, Consumer Choice Aggregators, because these CCAs, they're not going to go build a power plant. They're just going to go buy power on the open market. And so I don't know that I'm satisfied with the success of CCAs in California, and I don't know that it's the best thing to bring to Nevada. Now, there are folks that want to see it happen, but I don't propose, if we were to do it, I definitely don't think we should do it the way California did.
Right, and this is different from the co-ops that we have in our rural parts of our state, I think, as well.
Yeah, and with a co-op, you're a community owner of your electric utility. And so a CCA is kind of a hybrid of community solar the 704B process, and right now I'm struggling with where it brings value to all the ratepayers, including those that get involved in the CCA.
It is a community effort, isn't it? So, well, that's great, and thank you for that, Chris. And moving forward, what other energy-related issues do you think will be coming up during the 2019 Nevada State Legislative Session?
I think the two big ones that we haven't discussed, and that we really didn't get into in last session in great detail, are energy storage and the electrification of the transportation sector. Energy storage is coming down in price at such a rapid rate that it makes all types of different policy decisions possible. Energy storage right now is kind of the holy grail of how we get to the next level on renewable energy. As you know, the cheapest form of renewables out there is solar and wind. And when the sun goes away, the power goes away with it. And when the wind stops blowing, we're not producing energy. So energy storage kind of fills that gap. So right now, we have these big powerful peakers that are expensive to run, that are there for that moment in time when we need a little bit more energy than we're producing, and energy storage could fill that gap. And so that's something we need to discuss. And then vehicle transportation electrification. Right now, with the energy storage advances in technology and the reduction in pricing, it makes it very possible to electrify fleets. It makes it very attractive to drive a electric vehicle as a commuter, especially if you have a relatively short commute. And that fits the bill for about 90% of the people in the state of Nevada. And so looking at a renewable energy future where we have electric transportation and energy storage coupled with it is really a exciting opportunity, especially for a state like Nevada. We check so many boxes. We're probably the best state to try to make all of those things happen. And so I'm excited about those two subjects, in addition to all the other things that we discussed.
That's great, and I know with the new Gigafactory, we want storage to go big because it brings a lot of money to our state. And as far as exporting solar power, that's a great thing too. We want to thank you for being on the show today, Chris. You brought us a lot of great information, and we're going to look forward to your work at the session in 2019. Thank you for supporting us out here.
Oh, thank you for doing this show. I think it's great to get these subjects out there.
And Stan's got a quick announcement before we go away.
Right. The Solar Nexus presentation, DRI was on our show a few weeks ago to talk about the intersection of solar and water. That they've done 5 years of research at a different level. They're going to be presenting their results at the Springs Preserve on Wednesday, November 14th from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. You can register through Eventbrite, and call Springs Preserve to find out more information.
All good. Have a great week, and keep it green out there. This is Shades of Green, and I'm your host, Paul Ira. We'll talk to you next week. Bye now.